Welcome to the Man of Recaps. This is Avengers Endgame. Tony Stark and Nebula are hanging out in space. Remember, they were the only two survivors of the snap on Thanos' planet. They fixed up a ship enough to get here, but now they're dead in the water. They are going to die unless they're rescued by glowing space angel Captain Marvel. She flies them back to Earth, where indeed 50% of the population has been snapped away. But they managed to trace Thanos' location, so the Avengers are going on a space mission. Thanos has retired. He's living the simple life, which is rudely interrupted by the Avengers. They immediately get the gauntlet off this time, but what's this? The Infinity Stones are gone? Yeah, Thanos destroyed them, so the snap can never be undone.
I am inevitable.
Thor immediately cuts his head off, remedying his mistake from Infinity War, but with the snap irreversible, the Avengers have lost. 5 years later, the Earth is still reeling from the snap, but in a random storage locker, fate intervenes, and Ant-Man is blown out of the quantum realm. In the post-credit scene from Ant-Man and the Wasp, he went in there right before the snap and ended up trapped. But now he's out and sees the devastation, so he pays a visit to the remaining Avengers and is like, hey guys, I think we can use the quantum realm for time travel. They go to see the smartest guy they know, Tony Stark, but his life has changed a lot. He now has a daughter. He's not gonna risk losing her for some crazy time travel scheme, so they go to the second smartest guy they know, Bruce Banner, who has now fully integrated himself with the Hulk. He tries to make a time machine, but doesn't quite get it right. Luckily, Tony Stark can't let it go, and he cracks the code. He says farewell to his daughter.
I love you 3,000.
Cuteness overload. They're planning a time heist to go steal the Infinity Stones from when they existed in the past and use them to undo the snap in the present. They need to reassemble the Avengers, and first on the list is Thor, who has really let himself go. He's hanging out with Meek and Korg from Ragnarok, literally playing Fortnite, but under his new laid-back attitude is hiding a crippling depression. Next on the list is Hawkeye, who wasn't in Infinity War because he took a deal for house arrest to be with his family, but he got super unlucky and lost them all in the snap. And since then, he's been on a full John Wick murder spree. And now the gang's all here, so it's time for some time travel. Team 1 revisits the original Avengers movie. They watch as they give Loki's scepter with the Mind Stone to the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents who they later found out were Hydra. Captain America meets him in the elevator. It looks like they're gonna redo the epic fight from Winter Soldier, but instead Cap leans in and whispers, "Hail Hydra." Oh, he played them, walks right out with it. Unfortunately, he runs into his past self, who assumes he's a shape-changed Loki. So Cap's gotta fight his past self.
I can do this all day. Yeah, I know.
He distracts him with spoilers from future movies and takes the staff. To get the Tesseract, Ant-Man goes into Tony's heart thing and causes a distraction so future Tony can grab it and go. Unfortunately, Hulk didn't fit in the elevator and had to take the stairs, knocking the Tesseract right to Loki. This is a huge problem because they only have enough Pym particles for the trip back. But Tony realizes, hey, there's plenty of Pym particles in the past. So he and Cap take a detour to the 1970s to S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, where a young Hank Pym has Pym particles to spare. And also, the Tesseract was conveniently in storage there. Tony bumps into his father and has an emotional reconnection, while Steve catches a glimpse of Agent Carter, who is his lost love. Back in New York, Banner Hulk sees the old Sorcerer Supreme, who's got the Time Stone, but she explains that if they take an Infinity Stone from the past, it'll open up an alternate reality, which will certainly be a bad one. So once the mission's over, they've got to bring them back to exactly when they took them. Team 2 visits Thor Dark World, the worst Marvel movie. Thor and Rocket have to suck the Reality Stone out of Natalie Portman, and Thor swings by his mom's for a pep talk, and he has the idea to summon Mjolnir. He's got his hammer back. Black Widow and Hawkeye go to Soulstone Planet, where they run into Red Skull, who explains that one of them has to die. These two best friends come to the agreement that it should be them, so they have a crazy fight where they're trying to stop each other from sacrificing themselves. They end up in a Lord of the Rings, don't you let go, Mr. Frodo, but Black Widow sacrifices herself for the Soul Stone. The last team goes to Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where Peter Quill is famously doing his intro credits dance. It looks a lot less cool when you can't hear his headphones. They knock him out and take the Power Stone themselves, but as they're leaving, Nebula malfunctions because there's the past Nebula on the same Wi-Fi. She's still very much working for Big Bad Daddy Thanos. He very quickly figures out the time heist situation, so they capture future Nebula and send past Nebula back undercover. So all our heroes come back to the present, and the time heist was a success, except Black Widow dying, of course. Tony makes his own Infinity Gauntlet, Iron Man style, but no mortal man can use the stones, it would destroy them, so Hulk's gotta do it. Fruity Pebble Rainbow Power, and snap! He does it with only a one-arm injury, and it looks like it works, everyone's back to life! But just then, evil Nebula hacks the time machine and brings Thanos' ship in. Boom! Missile blast blows up all of Avengers headquarters. Everyone survives, but in precarious situations. Hawkeye makes it out with the Infinity Gauntlet, which he gives over to Nebula, not knowing that she's evil. But luckily, past Gamora is already down for a redemption arc. She frees future Nebula, who has to then shoot her past self, which luckily doesn't cause her to disappear back to the future style. And now the big three Avengers come face to face with Thanos. He's like, wow, I saved the universe with my snap. You guys are really ungrateful. When I get the stones this time, I'm just gonna wipe out all life and start again from scratch. So now it's time for an epic 3v1. Even without the stones, Thanos is super strong. He's about to kill Thor when what's this? The Hammer Mjolnir comes to save him. But wait, Thor didn't summon it. It was Captain America. That's right, he's worthy to lift it, and now it's hammer time. But even with the power of thunder, Thanos still kicks his butt. The good guys never even stood a chance, cause Thanos has his entire army with him. So things look bleak for the universe. But wait, what's this? A portal opens and Doctor Strange is back! Yes, all the heroes that were snapped are back to life! He opens dozens of portals with all the heroes and entire armies. This was his whole plan, uniting the galaxy for a final stand against Thanos.
Avengers! Assemble.
And now the climax of 23 movies, the epic final battle. So much is going on, you gotta rewatch this scene a dozen times. Ant-Man does punch a space whale though. Also a blue Iron Man shows up. It's Pepper Potts. Tony made her a suit at some point and they kick some butt together. And Star-Lord's reunited with an alive past Gamora. Hilariously, she doesn't remember her future self falling in love with him. Eventually, Thanos spots the Infinity Gauntlet, so the heroes gotta play keep away. They wanna get it into Ant-Man's van time machine where Thanos can't reach it, so Scarlet Witch comes to distract him. She wants revenge for Vision, and she earns her title of potential strongest Avenger, taking out Thanos single-handedly. Thanos has to call in an airstrike to get her off him, which puts the battlefield in chaos, until the shooting stops and the guns point up. What's this? It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Captain Marvel, back from outer space, takes out his whole ship by herself. She takes the Infinity Gauntlet, and all the women of Marvel team up together. All right, girl power. She's almost there when Thanos takes out the time machine. He grabs the gauntlet, but before he can snap, Captain Marvel's on him. She fights him one-on-one and is winning until he grabs the Power Stone and knocks her out of there. So Tony Stark sees Doctor Strange, who reminds him that out of 14 million outcomes, only one do they win. And Tony knows what he's gotta do. He grabs Thanos and distracts him for just a second, so when Thanos goes to snap,
I am inevitable.
wait, what? Nothing happened? Cause Tony grabbed all the Infinity Stones onto his hand.
And I am Iron Man.
Tony Stark snaps his fingers, dusts all of Thanos' army, and once he comprehends the magnitude of his failure, Thanos is blown away, out of the universe for good. But the power of the stones is too much for a human body to handle, so after a final farewell with Pepper, Tony Stark has sacrificed himself to save the whole universe. There's a big funeral with all the superheroes, and he left a projection will for his daughter.
I love you 3000.
What? I'm not crying, you're crying. But life and the MCU must move on. Thor appoints Valkyrie as King of Asgard. He hitches a ride with the Guardians of the Galaxy to hang with them for a bit. Then they gotta put the Infinity Stones back where they came from. Captain America takes that mission, but he doesn't come back because he comes back the slow way by growing old. He decided to settle down and live a full life. He passes the mantle of Captain America to the Falcon, Sam Wilson, who's gotta figure out if he's gonna use the wings and the shield. How's that gonna work? And in the end, we see Steve Rogers finally having his dance with Peggy Carter, and that's how Endgame comes to an end.